Hey, Jace, has anybody ever asked you what a successful hunt is? How to be the most dynamic hunter? Like, what a successful hunt is? Has anybody ever asked you, like, what your tips are, what you do?
I was gonna say people normally ask like, what's our preseason, tips? What are we doing preseason?
I've got it.
You got it?
I've got it.
What is it?
It's the name of our ministry. Idols aside. See, I think most guys that go hunting, they're looking for the giant whitetail. And we're not I like a giant whitetail, but we're not looking for the giant whitetail. I think you got to have your priorities right.
That's good.
When we go out in the woods, we usually, what do? Successful tip number 1, we pray.
This is very true.
We do. We start out our hunts with praying. So I think that makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
2, why do we go hunting? Is it because we're wanting the big trophy? We want to see the kids get the big trophy?
Goes back to our why.
It goes back to our why. It has nothing to do with the deer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with getting them in God's creation and seeing them come close to Christ.
Yeah.
It's funny. I look at some of the hunts that I've been on personally outside of Idols Aside, and I've had people ask, man, Mark, what type of camo do you wear? What type of scent do you put on? Like, where are your hunting stands? How do you have what type of stands do you have? How do you place those stands? What type of food plots do you plant? Where do you get your seed at? All the things. I mean, and we're going to talk about some of that today. We'll talk about all those things. But I'm going to tell you something that I think is the biggest trophy answers of it all. And a lot of hunting YouTube channels that are probably don't do this. We're doing something different. We're talking about something different. 1, praying,
Mm-hmm.
God's creation, and fellowship with believers.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing about hunting. And something else I want to add to that is hearing the voice of God in the woods, bro. Just being in a quiet place, having your cell phone turned off, sitting in the stand, and just being in God's creation.
Yep.
Like, I would say those are the things that are biggest successful tips, is to have those things prioritized in the right order.
Yeah.
And it's His creation. It's Him.
That's right.
And we feel His presence, and that's what I love the most. And I think if we focused more on the camo, more on that food plot, more on the wind direction, more on the stand placement, on the moon,
Mm-hmm.
on the snow, on the weather, on the rain. If our heart and focus was on those things every day, guess what would happen? We'd miss out on probably some amazing things,
Oh, 1,000%.
I mean, I struggle sometimes. I watch some of these hunting videos that some of these hunting professionals, they're on television. They have great hunting shows, and but they're getting people to idolize
The big buck.
this brown animal with 4 legs and this big old tree branch on their head, and they're getting people to idolize and worship and get the right Sitka gear and get the right smell and get the right stand and get the right hunting lease or own the right ranch. And when we get into that perspective or that mindset, we're going to miss the biggest gift of all when we're in the woods.
Creation.
God Himself and His creation and just the sweetness of that, because there's been seasons in my life where it was about having that right property, and man, is it going to snow today? Oh, is the wind just right? Oh man, I need to get there to that hunting stand. I've got to get there. That big buck is going to be there today. That's not my mindset anymore.
No.
My mindset now, man, is, hearing the voice of God, being in His creation, having fun with these kids out there, fellowship with one another. And, but God does bless us with some pretty awesome animals. There's no doubt. But I hate to tell all you hunters out there, a lot of stuff that we spend money on
Pointless.
is pointless, man. I'm so
Waste of
sorry.
money.
Waste of money, guys. I'm so sorry. So sorry, man. Those ladies and men that are listening.
I can't even imagine all the men out there that have decked out Sitka gear and they're ate up with their cell cam pictures and all this, and then they probably won't even kill a big buck this year, and then they're just going to be disappointed. I laugh.
Because their hope is in the buck.
Yeah,
It's in the buck. It's in the deer.
Well,
they want to put that buck on the wall.
Come on now.
Hope in the buck. It leaves you hopeless, right?
Hope in the buck will leave you hopeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, or depressed or sad or crying or questioning your
Told you it's
manhood.
not about the harvest of it's about
rather
harvest of souls. Or rather have a harvest of a soul than harvest of a buck. But we are going to talk about some tips today. I do want to share some things because we do spend some time on getting things ready.
We did this week,
and we love for these kids to be outfitted in camo. We like them to have a nice camo hat, camo shirt, camo jacket. They wear those jackets for months out of the year. Give them camo pants, muck boots, you name it. And so it helps, if it's 20 degrees outside, I'd rather be out there in a jacket and pants than a pair of shorts.
Yeah, for sure.
So, there are things you have to do to prepare, and I do not like chiggers and ticks.
No, we found that out this week.
Oh, man, we got ate up with chiggers this week. So we use this beautiful yellow bottle of stuff called permethrin, right?
Yep.
And that keeps those nasty chiggers and ticks off. So you turkey hunters out there, those folks that love to hunt early season, you better have some of that spray. That is a lifesaver.
We didn't use enough of it this week.
Yeah, we're still itching.
Yep.
That was
my
bad.
legs are itching this very second.
That's it. But I know some of you, you're hearing from us now that Jesus is the answer. We have prayer time. We love being in God's creation. Yes, that is more important to us than anything. But we're going to share some fun tips on hunting because I know you folks are going to know how you guys kill all these big bucks, how these kids are killing all these deer. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about that today. And
I think we got to talk about our week, though, Mark. We fellowship.
Bro, that's embarrassing, man.
I wish Alex would have been with us because we
look like the two Stooges, bro.
We look like we should not be giving any tips at all. Man, we had a fun time out at the Idols Aside Kentucky Ranch this week, getting ready for retreats.
Yeah, I guess it started out for me when I got up in one of our redneck towers and
10 foot in the air.
It's one of the 10-foot towers, and I'm looking on the outside of the tower to see if there's any wasp nests. Everything looked good. I was like, okay, there's none on the outside. There's probably none on the inside. So I'll climb up the ladder, and we like to go in and clean up all the windows and vacuum the carpet out, and just have them really nice and clean before the hunting season. So I get up in there, and everything's quiet. Everything looks good. Well, I start opening a couple windows. Everything's go good. And then I take my hand and start moving a couple chairs. And, bro, when I move those chairs, I didn't know if it was hornet's nest or wasp, but, bro.
You got popped like 5 times on the back.
I think 100 of them jokers flew up in there. And I dove out of that 10-foot stand.
Yeah, you didn't even use the ladder. You just jumped off.
I just jumped off. Didn't touch the ladder. And, man, I jumped right back up on my feet. I can't believe it. I thought 44 years of age, diving out of a 10-foot tower stand, this is going to hurt, or I'm going to have a bad bruise. I really, bro.
I don't know how you didn't break a leg.
I think Jesus sent one of his angels and they caught me. I really do. I think an angel caught me. I've already fallen off a 100-foot cliff once and survived that. So maybe I'm just maybe the 100-foot
just for your
the
falls.
10-footer is easy compared to the 100.
You got a guardian angel just for your falls.
But then what happened after that, Jace?
Well, I was just gonna say, here's the first tip right there, and it starts before this time of the year. It starts at the end of your hunting season.
Take the
chairs out of your box blind. That is for sure. Because
don't leave chairs in there. Take them out every time.
Those nests in that one, there was like 4 or 5, wasp nests in there. And
there was one.
They were 12 inches size,
12 inches long on the back of that.
The shooting chair. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was bad.
And so it's tip number 1: take your chairs out of your box blind. And on the other side of that, I think it's something we'll do every year from now on, is get those little foggers.
The bug bombs.
The bug bomb, throw it in there, shut the door, let it do its work.
The bug bomb is the bomb.
And then the 27-foot wasp spray that you can get the outside.
Bro, it only goes 15 feet.
Yeah, that was false advertising.
They lied to you on that.
Calling them this week.
Yeah, that was not good.
So if it says 27 feet, no, it's only going to go about 15 or less. Yep. And it lessens as it gets more empty.
Yep.
But then after that,
we almost lost 2 chainsaw blades, pole saw blade. I think you put the 0 turn in the pond. You got excited.
I put the 0 turn in the pond. I got a little.
Not the motor. Brave. It wasn't the motor.
No,
just the wheels.
Yeah, just the wheels, and maybe the rear bumper. But I got a little bit too confident getting close to the water, and
want to make sure there's no grass there for the kids.
It was a little muddy close. The water's low, and because we haven't had much rain, and I just got a little bit close. It was still a little bit muddy from where that pond water, and it just took me. I just started sliding, and the more I fought it, the more that zero turn.
I came to your rescue.
Well, there's a caveat to that. Remember, there's not much cell service at our property at all. And I was stuck for like 15 minutes. I'm trying to get this thing out. I put logs under the tires. I don't even know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know
I was
that.
trying to get it out. It wasn't. I called you, no kidding.
It was 10, showed 10 on
No,
the
on your end. I think it was like 23, 24 times on my end. I just couldn't get it to go
Why
through.
didn't you just walk back to the lodge?
That's what I started to do.
It took you 20 minutes.
It's like a 2-mile walk back to the lodge. And you were through the tree line. You can't see. You see.
I finally saw something moving.
Yeah, because I had my hat on and I was like waving it around. But then you're like, oh, I think that's Jace over there. I better go check and see if he's okay. Why is he walking? And then my great leader, my great boss, he finally came pick me
The
up.
player saved you. The winch got you out.
We got the winch.
Warren winch.
Hooked it up to that zero
You
turn.
hear that, Warren? That's a shout out. We need another winch.
Yeah, we need another one. Yeah, we put it to work like 3 times that day. And we pulled the zero turn out. And then I almost got it back into the pond on the other side. Remember that?
Yeah, so here's a word of advice, everybody that has a zero turn. If there's a little dew on the ground or there's a little moisture, keep the zero turn away from it, especially on a slope when you're close to water.
Yep. Or just be prepared and hope you have a winch.
That's it.
Because you're going to
Winch is a lifesaver.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was, it was a fun. We wish Alex was with us. It could have been a comedy for sure. Jumping out of stands, getting zero turns in ponds.
We looked like we had Bubba.
We had two chainsaws stuck, had a pole saw break. It was fun. Chiggers, got into chiggers. It was a good work day. Good
we
couple of work days.
we had a tree fall down on one part of our property that we like to call the sanctuary that we don't really hunt. We just kind of leave that to the deer, and it's like, man, it's such a good spot. But
I'll give you a few tips, everybody. This year it looks a little different for us in Western Kentucky because there was a CWD, chronic waste disease situation that happened at the end of last year. And so in the western part of the state, there's several counties involved in that. We're not allowed to put out corn. We're not allowed to bait deer. So, some of the things I think that are real important for hunters out there is you need to plant corn, you need to plant soybeans. You may already have contracts or leases to have those products in place, but I think it's a great idea if you can leave corn up.
Yep. Leave a couple rows.
Leave a good corn crop up and just mow some lanes in that corn crop. Also, for us, we do a lot of crossbow and bow hunting with our kids because we have a longer season with hunting with bows, and so we're this year we had to be more intentional because we can't put corn piles out.
Sure.
We had to be more intentional with our food plots and the directions of our stands, location of our stands, and so we made our food plots a little bit smaller. But we did plant some turnips and radishes, oats, just some different leafy products there and some good seed. I can't tell you all my secrets, everybody.
That's right.
But there's some good stuff in there. But thankful. Yeah, very thankful for Mr. Michael down the road he's been a blessing. His
tractor's a little bit bigger than ours.
Yeah, he's got 120, 130 horse. It's a big one.
Yeah.
But he was helping us this week with some rock and helped us with our food plots and just a blessing of a guy to have. But we put some tractors to work this week and got some things planted.
Almost tipped ours over.
Yeah, we had it on the front 2 wheels. It was good.
Yeah. Don't put that fork too high.
Oh, yeah. When we're moving the hunting stand, we're moving one of the hunting blinds going down a hill sideways. Yeah. That was exciting.
The higher that fork goes, the more off balance it gets.
Yep. That was fun. But, yeah, some people ask too, hey, do y'all wear certain clothing? Do y'all spray down certain things? I think one of the most important things regarding that, if you're bow hunting, you're in an open stand, you better have some type of scent. But I encourage you, get up as high in the tree as you can. I honestly think the higher up, the better if you're bow hunting. When we do the hunting with the kids, we're in redneck, we're in closed blinds, so our scent isn't being blown around as much as somebody that's 20 to 30 feet up and climbing on a tree climber. But I do think it helps when you're up pretty high. Helps with your scent. But I think one of the biggest things to look at is the wind. The direction of the wind. And it really shows us what what stands, what part of the property, we're going to hunt, based on the weather. And
we don't want our scent blowing towards the deer.
Yeah. So just use common sense. Look where the wind's blowing, and if the deer are in that direction, you don't want to be in that path. That's not going to help you. I love to hunt when there's some of the biggest bucks that I've killed in my life have been, in some pretty tough weather.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the snow's on the ground, you better be out there.
Yeah, if you see a major temperature change on like the first freeze, you got snow on the ground, those are always good times to hunt. Even in Florida, some of the best bucks that I have killed have been, in the middle of the rain, and wind and rain. And sometimes those big stubborn bucks like to move when the weather's changing, when the weather is different. Some people love to hunt. They look at the moon phases, the new moon, the full moon, half moon, quarter moon, and there's so many different apps you can study, with weather, with moon phases.
They'll move more if it's full moon out.
Yeah. And obviously everybody knows about the rut, and that's,
no holds barred.
It's for us usually in early to mid-November. That's always a fun time to be in the woods because, for the first month and a half, 2 months on your property, you have some bucks and does that are patterned. They're hanging by. Right now, it's so dry. They're really staying close to water, staying close to food. They're not moving much. But here in about a month and a half, that is going to change. And you may see a buck that's from 4 to 5 miles down the road on your property. And
during the rut, in one day, a buck can travel 22 miles.
Yeah, that's insane.
A day.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I'd say in our area, we've seen deer that have been 4 or 5 miles on camera from other people's farms.
It's crazy.
That's a long way. I mean, where we are, those deer can be from different counties.
Yep. Because
we're right there in the corner of Ballard, Carlisle, and McCracken. So we could have deer come from 2 different counties.
Exactly.
To our farm. Yeah, very quickly. So my encouragement for you in the rut is if you can stay in your stand all day. The best. You can't kill them on the couch. I've never seen one killed on the couch yet. I bet it has happened before.
I got some buddies.
But you got to have a special setup for that. But no, it's
open that window, honey.
Yeah, I would be in the woods as much as possible during the rut, and at this time of the year, you're going to know where the deer are, know most of their patterns.
Yeah,
it's a little warmer in September. It'll start cooling down a lot more in October.
They're all the bucks. They're bachelored up right now. They're all hanging out.
Yep.
So they get mad at each other come rut, and they'll split
That's
up
it.
Fight.
It's always good if you have water on your property. If you have a good pond, good water source, a lot of deer like to be close to water.
Yep. They even make those it's like troughs that you can bury and put in the ground and make artificial water holes for deer now.
Yep. Some parts of the country, people like to rattle in a deer. I've been hunting in South Texas, and you could literally put 2 bricks together, and the bucks are going to run out of the woods. In the South, it's a lot different. Some people have luck with rattling, some don't. I think it just depends on location, farm, the competition. I think a lot of it's competition. How many bucks do you have in the area? But I always love a good grunt call. At certain times of the season, I always see bucks respond to a grunt. I do like to rattle, but you just got to be at the right place on the right farm for that. But yeah, it's fun. Certain places you can put out certain baits, certain things. It's going to be different for us in Kentucky this year, but some other places in the South that you're allowed, deer love vanilla. They love peanut butter. They love sweet things. I knew a guy that owned an old convenience store, and he would take his old candy bars that were out of date, that were expired, and he'd unwrap them and pile up, a thing of candy on the ground.
That's
and
awesome.
Deer would go crazy over that sugar. So,
yep.
A lot of things you can do.
A lot.
Yep.
Salt. It's good.
Yeah. A lot of people love putting out mineral and salt.
Yeah.
We can't do that right now.
Nope.
In Florida we can, but not in Kentucky.
Sad day in Ballard County.
Ballard, we got to be, it's a lot more intentional, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll see bigger bucks. I really do. It's when you're not putting corn piles out.
I think we'll see less hunters around our property too.
Yeah, I think more people will show up at the...
just because of our crossbow stuff, it's going to be harder to get them in close.
Yep.
They might wait for gun season.
A lot of people will do muzzleloader and gun, and then once mid-November hits, they're ready for ducks. So, yep, a lot of guys love to duck hunt where we're at.
Hey, I haven't lived in Kentucky a whole long time. I grew up in Tennessee hunting, but in Kentucky, like during duck season, sometimes if a deer comes out, you can shoot a buck as long as it's not like swimming. In some states, what's the rule in Kentucky?
I'm not shooting a buck while I'm duck hunting. We're
So-
duck hunting.
Yeah, well, some people carry a shotgun and a rifle just in case.
Yep, somebody that's hungry.
Somebody that's hungry.
Yeah, I don't think it's very ethical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't like it.
you don't like it?
No,
That's
I don't like shooting ducks on the water either. I like shooting them when they're flying. It's kind of an ethical thing too. I think a lot of people have killed ducks on the water though. Oh man.
That's
Yeah.
almost an inside joke almost.
Yeah, that is for sure. A couple other things, safety things, just for those that may be new into hunting or haven't had a lot of experience. Clean your firearms on a regular basis. I think at the end of each hunting season, clean your rifles, your muzzle loaders. Obviously, your muzzle loaders you have to clean after you shoot them.
Yeah.
Rifles you can go a season, but I think the thing that has become real popular is crossbow hunting, and really make sure that sometimes you have to change your strings every season. We shoot a brand called Raven. It's been a great crossbow, but there is a lot of tension, a lot of resist, on those limbs. And so it's important, that just to make sure, your strings are not frayed and they're in line where they're supposed to be. But, be careful, be safe.
Yep.
Safety's key.
Yep. It is. It's a lot more fun, I think, hunting with a crossbow or a compound bow.
It's more of a challenge hunting with
It
a
is more
compound
of a
bow
challenge.
or crossbow.
We've talked about that a little bit, just with the challenge of we're trying to get these deer closer for these kids to shoot. So we are having to make our food plots shorter, trying to get more creative with different things, moving those stands around, just trying to think and pattern out these deer. A lot of people now they're hunting out of saddles up in the tree. That's like become a really popular thing.
Yep, that has been a popular thing.
You ever done that?
No, we're not with kids, obviously.
Well, yeah, not with kids. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about you personally.
Yeah, I used to hunt on tree climbers quite a bit,
Yeah,
but I heard these saddles I'd probably fall asleep.
probably fall asleep.
But
I think it just kind of cradles your tush.
But hey, also some people that maybe have never hunted before. This is something to throw out there because I don't hear it talked about a lot. I think on a lot of your hunting shows, people are just honed in on the hunt. The actual kill, which is great. It's fun to watch. But just I don't think you see a lot of stuff talked about for beginning hunters. One thing I think it's real important too is find out if you're left eye or right eye dominant.
Oh my goodness!
There's
And
so
learn
many
how to do
people
that.
they may have shot a pistol, may have shot a BB gun, shot a shotgun a couple of times in their life, but they've never like gone and sat in a hunting stand by themselves and on a hunt. And for example, I've got a daughter that is, right-handed, right-footed. She does everything with her right, but Grace is left eye dominant. And so when she shoots, she has to use her left eye, and she shoots left-handed. And she'll hit the bullseye every time. But we discovered that when she was using her right eye and going right, and she was off on the target. And there's a little test you can do. I call it the little triangle test, where you put your arms out in front of you and make a triangle, and
Close one eye.
and you can close one eye, and then close the other eye, open both eyes, and you
See
can
if it moves or not.
see if the object moves inside of your triangle. But makes a huge impact,
That is a
especially
huge
when you're crossbow hunting. And you're looking through a scope and you've got a raven and you've got a buck at 60, 70 yards. We hope for a little bit closer, but when you're getting into that 40 to 70 yard range and you're not looking with the dominant eye, you ain't gonna hit the
And
deer.
if you're right-handed and you have to shoot with your left eye, you can't still hold the gun right-handed. You're going to have to learn how to shoot left-handed.
Yeah. If you're left eye dominant, you're gonna have to shoot left handed. If you're right eye dominant, you're gonna have to shoot with your right hand.
Yeah. You said something too in that made me think of just another like safety thing for a new hunter. If you're going out and you're hunting alone by yourself, I think it's a good idea to have a plan and let somebody else know where you're going, when you plan to be back. Send them a GPS pin of your location, and if they don't hear from you, they can come check on you. But just tell somebody, hey, I'm going hunting. This is when I plan to be back.
Yep.
And then keep them in the loop. If you do harvest and you got to go track the deer down, let them know, just so they're not worrying, or your wife's not worrying, or your husband, if you're a woman and you're hunting, like just have a plan. And so you can be as safe as possible. I think that's huge.
People ask us quite a bit, you guys are getting brand new hunters to the lodge a lot. They've never shot a crossbow, never shot a rifle. We're teaching these things on a weekend. We get 24 to 48 hours with these kids, and it's amazing. People say, well, what's the success rate? If they have an opportunity and a deer comes in front of them, is that that ratio high? And it is. Mm-hmm. It is a high ratio. I think sometimes the girls do a little bit better than the guys because they listen. Mm-hmm. They listen to everything we say. I think some guys come out there, they played Call of Duty, they play these video games, and they think they've got it. It's easy, it's cake, they got it figured out, but they realize it's not the same as a video game. Nope. And so I think if you listen, to whoever your mentor or leader is teaching you about hunting, about firearms, about crossbows, listen to everything they say. Mm-hmm. And because safety is important. But yeah, being in the woods, man, we love it, and I think it's important that you know hunting ethics, that you put hunting and in this sport in the right perspective. We start with Christ. We start with prayer. We start with God's creation, the blessings of being in a place that's quiet and still and seeing his presence, feeling his presence. But also another blessing that it is to a lot of these kids and these families, and it's a blessing for you hunters out there, is God provides meat for your family. And, if God does bless you with that harvest, it's a blessing to be able to have steaks and to have hamburger meat, and to have pork chops and, and all the things. If you're killing a deer, a hog, whatever the animal may be.
I was going to say, does a deer have pork chops?
No, a piggy does.
Yeah, no, I was just being funny.
But we kill a lot of pigs in Florida.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Most of the deer meat we get processed. We just turn it into burger and add a little bit of beef fat to it.
Yeah, and if you don't like deer meat and you just like the hunting, donate the meat.
Yeah, last year we were blessed in Ballard County. There were a lot of hunters that love to be out in God's creation, love to hunt, and they don't eat meat, or they're not fond of deer meat, and so they donate that meat to our local meat processor. And last year, I believe that meat processor donated almost pounds. No, it was about 1,000 pounds.
Oh,
of
was
meat.
it? Oh, yeah. The first batch was
I think a total we had close to 1,000 pounds of meat donated. And thank you, hunters. Thank you, Burnett's Meat Processing. That was a blessing. We were able to take that meat, and
single moms,
these kids that came to the lodge, and they were able to, if they didn't have a harvest with a deer on that retreat, they still took home 50 to 70 pounds of meat.
Yep.
And so that was really cool. So that's a blessing.
It feeds them all winter long.
Yeah, and if
some of those families,
any of you listen, if you've gone to your local supermarket or you've gone to Sam's, you order meat online. Meat is expensive, and so it is a blessing, But I think it's real important out there that none of us worship hunting. We're only supposed to worship our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Yeah. I think it's okay that we hunt. It's okay we enjoy it. And I think it's okay to be a good steward of the hide and the mount, and we're not, I think it's okay to put a mount on the wall and just look at how magnificent God's creation is.
Honors it.
But something that we always say, and on our retreats, if you shoot it, you better eat it.
Yeah.
We don't shoot to kill.
Yep.
If we're going to shoot something, then we're going to eat it.
Yep.
That's real important. So.
Absolutely.
Any other hunting tips? Yeah.
No.
Any other things that we should mention about hunting?
I don't know.
You want to tell them your record?
No. You always want to bring that up.
Jace has got the smallest deer ever killed at the Autos Aside Ranch. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
It was all Neil Eubanks' fault.
You can blame it on our volunteer Neil.
Yeah, he was the only one that
he said it was 120 pound doe.
Yeah, he did.
And it was half of that.
Hey, but we stewarded it well.
It blessed the family.
Me and Neil processed it that night, and it fed a family
for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
That was a blessing.
Sure did.
So, but hunting is awesome. We hope, some of you may love just to go in the woods and watch deer, and hear the voice of God and read your word, read God's word, in His creation, and that's sweet too.
Yeah. I guess another advice I would have, if if you're really passionate about hunting, you're not a brand new hunter, and you're confident in your skills and your abilities, help take somebody else hunting. Whether it's we would love to see it be
A fatherless
youth. And if you're local, in Florida or Kentucky, you can come help serve with us. But wherever you're at listening to this, just go take a fatherless youth hunting.
And guys, most of every guy listening, you got kids that are in sports.
Yep.
And there is a kid, on your street, on your kid's ball team, kid in the school that don't have a dad to take that kid hunting. So, if you're going to hunt 7, 8, 9, 10 times this year, you're taking trips to Africa, or you're taking trips to Texas, or you got your own hunting farm, or you got your own hunting lease, can you give up one hunt to take a kid that's never been?
That's how it started for me. One of my best friends I had played football with, and his name is Steven. His dad, David Jackson, and his uncle, Mark Bowes, they took me hunting. I'd never been hunting before, but they taught me how to deer hunt, how to dove hunt, all those things. They introduced me, and they took me, even with Steven, not with Steven, and gave me those opportunities to learn how to do that. And now it's a passion of mine. I love hunting, and I want that to be passed on to other kids. And I hope my son, makes friends with kids that are less fortunate, and I can invest in their life when they get that age. But you male out there, man, you can do that for somebody else. You can be a David Jackson to another Jace Hargrove. You can show them good hunting ethics and the purpose behind it. And you can get them in God's creation, and you can really change a kid's life because you're investing in them. That's why we do what we do, is to see listeners like you start to serve those people and give back.
I remember when I was 4 years old, that's 40 years ago, the first fish I ever caught, and it was a bass. It was not even a pound. And I threw that little Zebco push button out by a dock, and I had a little grape worm on. And that's when I caught my first fish. That was with my dad. And then my stepdad and my uncle Ben, took me on my first deer hunts. I believe I was with my Uncle Ben when I killed my first doe. And my pops, my stepdad, he had some hunting leases in Florida and Georgia, and I remember killing my first buck with him. I believe that was in Warner Robins, Georgia. And but yeah, those guys.
This is separate from the time that you had the homeless guy in the woods.
That's a long story. We'll save that for another episode. Yeah, it's sweet. But I can go back and remember
those guys.
Family that took me. But I can remember the clothes that I wore, the fishing pole, the type of worm from when I was 4.
Wow.
And so guys out there, you may think, oh man, this kid on my son's team, they got somebody to take him. They probably don't. Yeah. And so you may take that kid to go catch their first fish, kill their first deer, have their harvest of their first buck or a harvest of a first doe. And that is a memory they're never going to forget.
Well, I feel bad. I feel convicted over here, but because, I said males, men, you're talking about guys. I get it because we're guys, guys took us hunting and fishing and those things, and guys, you should take guys. But I think, too, women can take
absolutely
females. I think
some of our best fishermen and best hunters are ladies.
Yeah, and so we're not saying all that to neglect women or females hunting or anything like that. So women, we would love to see more women serving in Idols Aside and serving, have more girl retreats to be able to serve girls as well, because they grow up fatherless and motherless, and they need to be loved on as well. And so any women out there that are passionate about hunting and fishing and being outdoors, and you've got those skills and those passions, man, teach some other young ladies that. Pass that along to them so that the next generation can be trained up to learn how to provide for their own families and do it with their kids. And it goes on and on and on. And it's a beautiful thing when we're out in God's creation.
And hey, men out there, I'm going to give you guys a challenge, and women too, but it's probably more men. A lot of you guys go to hunting camps. You got your own hunting camp, maybe a lease. You may have your own ranch. Some of you guys go out there, the purpose to get away from your job, time to chill, hang out with your buddies, drink a cold one, and just want to get away from the world. I want to challenge you to do something different. I want to challenge you that evening or at the hunting lodge, at the hunting camp. Get with those guys, get around a campfire. You may have never done this, but just start talking about God. Maybe have some conversations about who God is.
What do you guys think about God?
Yeah,
start it like that.
If you're a Christian, and you know some guys that may be at that hunting camp that aren't believers, pull out your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be weird.
Bold.
Be bold, but you ain't got to be weird about it. But just start talking about God and just see. You'll be amazed about the fellowship that brothers can have, sisters can have. Just opening up, talking about. And I think some of the best times that we have at the Idols Aside Lodge in Kentucky and Florida is around those campfire talks.
Yep.
And I think some of you people out there listening, some of those campfire talks that you have are not appropriate.
Nope.
And they're not right, and they're not God honoring. And, the things that we're seeing around the campfire with these kids have to do with Christ. It's a game changer. But guys, it can be a game changer for you too. I don't care if you're 40, 50, 60 years old listening to this. When you're at hunting camp, man, open up the Word of God. Talk about Jesus.
Yeah, if you don't know where to start and you're like, man, you want me to open up my Bible? Like, I don't even do that in my home. Where do I start? Start with Romans 1:20. That is about being in God's creation and not having an excuse for not knowing that God's real, because he's given us the birds and the trees and the stars and the sky and the sun and the moon. He's given us all these things to point to his divine nature, and he shows us to it. And just open their eyes and their minds to that idea that, man, they are out in God's creation, and then let God do the rest.
Yeah.
And he'll give you the stuff.
Just good to have conversation.
Yeah.
You never know what a couple questions asked, what that could lead into.
I mean, we see that in kids that we meet in the schools, that they might be quiet and shy and they don't share anything with us. And yet we've sat around campfires and we've heard boys and girls open up about terrible things that have happened in their life that they've never shared with anybody. We've had kids share that their parents locked them in dog cages. Like,
it's horrible.
It's terrible, the things that these kids go through, the things that they've
prison,
and the things that they've made them watch and do and be a part of, just the evil stuff. And to see those kids feel comfortable enough around that campfire to open up about that and begin to see healing happen.
Yep.
It's huge, all because of a campfire, a simple conversation, and
they see the evidence of God.
Yeah.
And they take that step of faith and they trust.
Yeah.
It's been special to watch that. But we want you guys to experience Jesus like we experience him.
Yeah.
And I think the outdoors is a great place. It's a good starting place. And but yeah, thank you for listening to us today. I know we talked a little bit about what we do at the lodge, some different things, and some things also for beginning hunters, that have never hunted before, that have an interest in it. But thank you for listening to us on this podcast. We love Jesus, we love the outdoors, and we love fatherless kids. And so we just challenge you, be your best for Christ, whatever that looks like. It's different for everyone, but keep your eyes and ears open. If you see a kid, single mama or fatherless kid that needs some help, why don't you show them some love, give them some time, take them hunting. Just invest in them. And then also, continue to share about Idols Aside and the work we're doing in Kentucky and Florida. If you want to support our work, scholarships from kids in our program, go to idolsaside.com and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all the things.
Hit that donate link.
Yeah, that'd be a blessing. So it helps us have a blessed week. Thank you.
See you.